Yamunatira Vanachari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunya Bihari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunya Bihari Gopi Janna Vallabha Girivaradari Gopi Janna Vallabha Girivaradari Yashoda Nandana Braja Janara Jana Yashoda Nandana Braja Janaranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunya Bihari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunya Bihari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jayo Prabhupada, Jayo Prabhupada, Jayo Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada. Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura, Hari Bol. Harinam Sankirtan ki jai, Gaura Premanandi. Hari Bol. Så, hur gör vi med språket idag? Pratar du svenska? Det gör du. Och pratar du svenska? Du pratar svenska eller? Engelska. All right. Barbara föredrar svenska.
Ta engelska.
Går bra också? Okej. Då har vi minoritetens diktatur idag då. Vi på engelska. Krishna. En riktigt bra dag idag. It's a really good day today. Beautiful, right?
Yes.
It's almost that you want to stay in the material world, right? Almost, not really.
It's also the day after the chaos.
Which chaos?
Eurovision.
They're okay. Well,
I mean, chaos.
the whole
A
city?
little bit chaos.
Okay.
Police from Denmark and Norway and
Really?
yeah.
Because of this political thing?
Yeah, also. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Anyway, I went out early this morning for a japa walk, just when the sun came up, and looking at the beautiful fields here in Skåne. There's this raps, you know, the yellow growing, and all the grass, all the different flowers. And then I thought to myself that there's millions and trillions of living beings everywhere, you know, the non-moving living beings. And they're definitely in majority on this planet. And then I thought, you know, I could have been one of them, but instead I have this human form of life. Wow, how lucky I am, isn't it? It's like winning the lottery. But then again, not so many humans know what to do with all the money they win on the lottery. So I was meeting one woman. She was out with her dog. Dog is a funny word because it's God reversed. Dog or God, right? And I was there chanting, you know, walking, and then she came with the dog. And then I saw in a distance, she also had a kind of bag holding, and she pulled the dog, and it was this bag. But then they came closer, and I realized that the content of her bag was completely different from the content in my bag. So,
I can imagine.
yes. So, yeah. So this is the world we are living in, a reflection. Anyway, I had to stress here because of the communications, and I missed the first bus, and then I missed my glasses, which I shall try. I will try to read a text from the Bhagavad Gita, from the 9th chapter, and text number 2. It's a fairly long purport, but I think we should read it together because speaking about fortune, when I first came in contact with Krishna consciousness and moved into the ashram up in Korsnäs Gård, it was just like a year after Prabhupada left the planet. And Prabhupada, he had some very special magic. And that magic was still there in the temples, not only in Korsnäs, but all over the world. Prabhupada's magic, the whole atmosphere was so spiritual. And because he was he carried the power of Krishna, the Shakti, you know, and spread it everywhere. But when he left the planet, and before that, he was teaching that there are two ways of having the association of Srila Prabhupada, of a great devotee, of Acharya. And in Sanskrit it's called Vani and Vapu. Vapu means to form, when they have personal possibility to be with Prabhupada in his physical form. But then Vani, is that is through his teachings, through his literature his books. And he was very clear, saying that out of the two, the physical form of the spiritual master or the teachings are much more important. So actually, by studying Prabhupada's books, you get his personal association, which is very, very important. You're actually there with Prabhupada when you read his words. So I think we should be with Prabhupada for a little while here and try to get some of his magic, his mystic power of bhakti. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So the verse goes like this. Raja Vidya Raja Guhyam Pavitram Idam Uttamam Pratyaksha Vagamam Dharmyam Susukham Kartumavyayam. This is Krishna speaking. I think this is too risky. Yeah, maybe afterwards, or I put it somewhere where I always pour this out on the floor. And then Krishna says, this knowledge is the king of education, the most secret of all secrets. It is the purest knowledge, and because it gives direct perception of the self by realization, it is the perfection of religion. It is everlasting, and it is joyfully performed. And Prabhupada comments, this chapter of the Bhagavad Gita is called the King of Education because it is the essence of all doctrines and philosophies explained before. Among the principal philosophers in India are Gautama, Kanada, Kapila, Yajnavalkya, Shandilya, and Vaishvanar. And finally, there is Vyasadeva, the author of the Vedanta Sutra. So there is no dearth or loss of knowledge in the field of philosophy or transcendental knowledge. Now the Lord says that this 9th chapter is the king of all such knowledge, the essence of all knowledge that can be derived from the study of the Vedas and different kinds of philosophy. It is the most confidential because confidential or transcendental knowledge involves understanding the difference between the soul and the body. And the king of all confidential knowledge culminates in devotional service. So academic knowledge, that's generally called jnana in Sanskrit. That's what you can learn from reading, studying at the university or like this. But the word used here by Krishna for knowledge is vidya. Vidya comes from Veda. Veda, vidya. Okay, avidya means ignorance, then obviously. So vidya means realized knowledge. Knowledge that you have integrated, that you know and feel and experience. It is true. It's not memorized, like, data. It's knowledge. And the king and most secret of all knowledge is knowledge about devotional service. There's nothing higher than that. And Prabhupada goes on. He says, generally, people are not educated in this confidential knowledge. They are educated in external knowledge. As far as ordinary education is concerned, people are involved with so many departments. Politics, sociology, physics, chemistry, mathematics, astronomy, engineering, etc. There are so many departments of knowledge all over the world and many huge universities. But there is unfortunately no university or educational institution where the science of the spirit soul is instructed. Hopefully there will be one soon. We are working on it. Yet the soul is the most important part of the body. Without the presence of the soul, the body has no value. Still, people are placing great stress on the bodily necessities of life, not caring for the vital soul. Right? So sometimes we say that we are bodies with a soul, but the truth is we are souls with bodies. Yeah? Because the soul doesn't change, but the bodies do change. And from that perspective, one should kind of understand the priorities in life. The first priority is health. It's to take care of the body. Otherwise, if we don't eat, if we don't sleep, if we are no protection from weather and cold, the body will not work properly like that. So that's the first priority. But that doesn't mean it's the only priority, because once the body has been rested, wear clothes, have eaten, then life is meant for spiritual life, for self-realization, understanding who am I. That's the big priority. So Srila Prabhupada used to say that first comes health, then comes chanting, which is our religious process for this age, the Yuga Dharma, chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And then comes service, seva, cleaning, cooking, worshipping, etc. And then comes reading, studying, spiritual knowledge, so you can get deeper. Prabhupada, the Bhagavad Gita, especially from the second chapter on, stresses the importance of the soul. In the very beginning, the Lord says that this body is perishable and that the soul is not perishable. Antavanta ime deha nityas yukta sharirinaha. That is a confidential part of knowledge. That's not being taught in the school. Simply knowing that the spirit soul is different from this body and that its nature is immutable, indestructible, and eternal. That's part of the confidential knowledge. But that does not give positive information about the soul, because sometimes people are under the impression that the soul is something different from the body, and that when the body is finished or one is liberated from the body, the soul remains in a void and becomes impersonal. But actually that is not a fact. How can the soul, which is so active within the body, be inactive after being liberated from the body? Should we stop all activities simply because? No. It is always active. If it is eternal, then it is eternally active. And its activities in the spiritual kingdom are the most confidential part of spiritual knowledge. These activities of the spirit soul are therefore indicated here as constituting the king of all knowledge and the most confidential part of all knowledge. Activities means relationship with Krishna in the spiritual world. A relationship is never passive or inactive. Happens things all the time, relationship is based on rasa, on the kind of mellow between friends, between parent and child, between lovers, like that. And Srila Rupa Goswami, he mentions relationship between devotees in the Nectar of Instruction. the loving exchanges, he says, Dadati pratigrinati, guhyam akyati prichati, bhunkta bhojayate chaiva, shad vidim pritivalakshanam. Shad means 6. There are 6 different ways that you give somebody something and you receive gifts. That's one way loving exchanges between, parents and children, or friends and brothers and sisters and lovers. And by the way, my wife was very happy for the shada you gave her. She liked the fabric and the colors were beautiful. She said she will write to you personally and say thanks. Just came to think of it. And she was also very happy for the anonymous donation for the cows of €1 per day, which somebody made here.
For how many days?
That's once a month. You get €1. So, Guyam Akyati Pricheti, that means also you have confidential talks. You can speak like authentic people, philosophy, or reveal some realization. If you have some difficulty, one can ask advice like that. There's also loving exchange. And then bhunkte bojayate chaiva. Bhunkte, I think there's a word in Hindi. There's a mujhe bhuk lage hai, khana do bhuk lage. Means eating, food, right? So bhunkte me, hungry. Yes, missing food. So bhunkte means you give food, prasadam, or you receive prasadam. So that kind of loving exchange we will experience a little later during the program. So there's always things happening in the relationship. It's not passive. Oh, now I'm liberated, or I'm one with God, or no, it doesn't work. The soul is always active, thinking, feeling, willing, and then it comes out like activities. So Prabhupada said that this knowledge of the activity of the soul in Krishna consciousness is the purest form of all activities, as explained in the Vedic literatures. And then Prabhupada goes into a quite elaborate description of results of sinful activities. Sinful activity mean activities which are opposed to the relationship with Krishna, with God, that brings you away. So how these sinful activities and the reaction can be like a seed, could be sprouting, it could be fully blown, etc. And I'm not going to get into that, it's quite technical. But a person who is engaged in devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead finishes all sins and sinful activities, all sinful reactions. Those who are all actually engaged in the devotional service of the Supreme Lord are already freed from all reactions. And this is confirmed in the Padma Purana. Aprarabdha palam papam kutam bijam palonmukam kramenaiva priliyata Vishnu bhakti ratatmanam. For those who are engaged in the devotional service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, all sinful reactions, whether they are fructified in the stalk in the form of a seed, gradually vanish. Therefore, the purifying potency of devotional service is very strong, Prabhupada says. And it is called Pavitram Uttamam, the purest. Uttama means transcendental. Tamas means this material world or darkness. And Uttama means that which is transcendental to material activities. Devotional activities are never to be considered material, although sometimes it appears that devotees are engaged just like ordinary men. You know, people are engaged in vacuum cleaning, but if you come and vacuum clean the temple, that's seva or transcendental activity. But vacuum cleaning some restaurant or whatever after, that's a material activity you do to get the fruits, the money for doing it. So devotional service activities are all spiritual and devotional, uncontaminated by the material modes of nature. It is said that the execution of devotional service, meaning giving of your time, giving of your assets, and giving your attention, doing service like that, is so perfect that one can perceive the results directly. This direct result is actually perceived, and we have practical experience that any person who is chanting the holy names of Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, in course of chanting without offenses, feels some transcendental pleasure and very quickly becomes purified of all material contamination. So that's what's happening here on Fridays, right? We chant Hare Krishna, and I think all of you who come here and chant can remember this feeling, especially when we stop the chanting and you're just like, isn't it? It feels so good because we're transcendentally situated. In the Vedanta Sutra, this is also described in the following words: Prakashas cha karmanyabhyasat, meaning devotional service is so potent that simply by engaging in the activities of devotional service, one becomes enlightened without a doubt. And then Prabhupada goes on describing the story of Narada Muni. He's the son of Brahma and one of the greatest Vaishnavas. How he was, in a previous life, was simply the son of a maidservant, and the maidservant were helping the great devotees. And Narada was even allowed to help and also taste the remnants of their prasad, like this. And what Narada says is, he says that while engaged as a boy servant for those purified devotees, during the 4 months of their stay, he was immediately associating with them. Sometimes those sages left remnants of food on their dishes, and the boy who would wash their dishes wanted to taste the remnants. So he asked the devotees for their permission, and when they gave it, Narada ate those remnants and consequently became freed from all sinful reactions. As he went on eating, he gradually became as pure-hearted as the sages. The great devotees relished the taste of uninterrupted devotional service to the Lord by hearing and chanting, and Narada gradually developed the same taste. And he says further, by associating with the sages, Narada got the taste for hearing and chanting the glories of the Lord, and he developed a great desire for devotional service. Yes, I want to come. I want to serve. I want to hear. I want to chant. I want to hang out with devotees. I don't want to go home. Great desire. If one is engaged simply in the acts of devotional service, everything is revealed to him automatically and he can understand. This is called pratyaksha, directly perceived. And then the word dharma, dharmyam, that means the path of religion. Narada was simply a son of a maidservant. He had no opportunity to go to school. He was simply assisting his mother, and fortunately, his mother rendered some service to the devotees. So the child Narada also got the opportunity, and simply by the association achieved the highest goal of all religion. The highest goal of all religion is devotional service, and this is stated in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Savai pungsam paro dharmo yato bhakti radokshadi. Religious people generally do not know that the highest perfection of religion is the attainment of devotional service, the opportunity to serve God. As we already discussed in regard to the last verse of chapter 8, Vedashu, Yagyashu, Tapashu, Chaiva, generally Vedic knowledge is required for self-realization. But here, although Narada never went to school or of the spiritual master, and he was not educated in the Vedic principles, he acquired the highest results of Vedic study. This process is so potent that even without performing the religious process regularly, one can be raised to the highest perfection. How is this possible? Prabhupada asked. This is also confirmed in the Vedic literature. Acharyavan Purusho Veda. One who is in association with great acharyas, great devotees, even if he is not educated or has never studied the Vedas, can become familiar with all the knowledge necessary for realization. Right? And finally, the process of devotional service is a very happy one. Susukam. Why? Devotional service consists of Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, so one can simply hear the chanting of the glories of the Lord, or can attend philosophical lectures on transcendental knowledge given by authorized acharyas. Simply by sitting, one can learn. Then one can eat the remnants of the food offered to God. Nice palatable dishes. You recognize this process? Yeah? Hearing philosophy and then taking prasadam. Sounds familiar. In every state, devotional service is joyful, Prabhupada says. One can execute devotional service even in the most poverty-stricken condition. The Lord says, Patram pushpam palam toyam. He is ready to accept from the devotees any kind of offering. Never mind what, even a leaf, a flower, a bit of fruit, a little water, which are all available in every part of the world and can be offered by any person, regardless of social position. And it will be accepted if it's offered with love. There are many instances in history. So Prabhupada gives some example how people became great devotees simply by offering. It is said that devotional service is eternally existence. So actual devotional service continues even after one is liberated. Liberation, freedom from suffering, that just comes like an extra bonus. You know, if you do devotional service. We don't have to make any special effort. We serve Krishna here in this world, and when the devotee goes to the spiritual planet in the kingdom of God, he's also engaged there in serving the Supreme Lord. So, no one can understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead by executing Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, or any other yoga independently. By these yogic methods, one can make a little progress toward Bhakti Yoga. But without coming to the stage of devotional service, one cannot understand what is the personality of Godhead. So Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita that one can understand me in truth only by devotional service. Really. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is also confirmed that when one becomes purified by executing process of devotional service, especially by hearing Srimad Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita from realized souls, then he can understand the signs of Krishna or the signs of God. Evam prasanna manaso bhagavad bhakti yogata. When one's heart is cleared of all nonsense, then one can understand what God is. Thus, the process of devotional service or Krishna consciousness is the king of all education and the king of all confidential knowledge. It is the purest form of religion, and it can be executed joyfully without difficulty. Therefore, one should adopt it. Highest form of knowledge becomes, because it deals directly with the soul and its relationship with Krishna. This is from the Bhagavad Gita 15th chapter. And what Krishna says there, let's see. Verse number 7. Krishna says, Mama Ivangsha Jiva Loke. Mama Ivangsha, Angsha means part, Mama means mine. Jiva Bhuta Sanatana, Mana Shasht Anindriyani, Prakriti Stani Karshati. The living entities in this conditioned world are my eternal fragmental parts. So now we know what we are. Due to conditioned life, they are struggling very hard with the 6 senses, which include the mind. So we are Mama Ivangsha, we are Krishna's eternal fragmental parts. So make a very quick repetition. The knowledge is secret because most people don't understand that the topmost religion is devotional service. Many people who are interested in religion are not interested in a God-centered religion. They're more self-centered because they see God as a order supplier. They pray for material benefits. Give me this, give me that, give me health, give me, beauty, give me new car, etc. So this is the most widely spread religion. It's more self-centered. It's with motivation. But the secret of the topmost religion is when it's God-centered, when you want to give, you want to serve. And that's the greatest pleasure. It's also the purest knowledge because it gives realization from within. The source of suffering is actually ignorance. When we don't know who we are, we don't know our relationship with Krishna, and we act in a different way, then we suffer. That is the problem. So this knowledge purifies you from within. And Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Nahi janena sadrisham pavitram iha vidyate tat swayam yoga sangsida kalinatmane vindati. In this world, there is nothing so sublime and pure as transcendental knowledge. Such knowledge is the mature fruit of all mysticism. And one who has become accomplished in the practice of devotional service enjoys this knowledge from within himself in due course of time. We also experience it directly, direct perception. Who am I and who is Krishna? And then this is also the perfection of religion. Prabhu was quoting Savai Pungsam Parodharmo Yato Bhakti Radokshadi Ahaitukuya Pratiyata Yayatnam Suprasidati. That the supreme this is the first answer actually in the Bhagavatam, when the rishis assembled was asking him, what is the best thing for a person to do when he knows he's going to die? Like Parikshit is going to die in 7 days, and we don't know when. We can go in 7 minutes or 7 years. And then the Sutta Goswami answered this question by saying, the supreme occupation, the supreme dharma for all humanity is that by which we can attain to loving devotional service unto the transcendent Lord. Such devotional service should be unmotivated, unselfish, and going on constantly, uninterrupted, to completely satisfy the self. And finally, in this verse we were reading is that it's everlasting and joyfully performed. This is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita, 10th chapter, text number 9, where Krishna says, Machchtya madgata prana bodhayanta paraspara katayantash chamam nityam tushyanti charamanticha. The thoughts of my pure devotees dwell in me. Their lives are fully devoted to my service, and they derive great satisfaction and bliss from always enlightening one another and conversing about me. So the topic for this class was boosters and impediments on the ecstatic path of Krishna consciousness. So, as in all processes, there are things that boost progress, strengthen, but there are also obstacles that prevent. And it's very important both to boost and also remove the obstacles. So the boosters, Mahaprabhu is teaching Sanatana Goswami in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, just 5 things. One should associate with devotees. Yes, we do that. One should regularly hear and chant philosophy in the holy name. We do that too. We should accept the guidance of the spiritual master. We hear Srila Prabhupada receiving confidential knowledge properly. And we can transform our homes into sacred spaces by having a little altar, something like that. And maybe keep pictures of the deities in our home, Ugornitai, Radha Krishna, like that. And then we have the impediments, the obstacles that we should get rid of. There are also basically 4 categories. First of those are the weaknesses of the heart that we are carrying, maybe from previous life. We have material desires. Oh, I just like to do this, and oh, I just want to do that, and that's weaknesses of the heart. They hold you back. But what is much, much worse is anarthas, bad habits, and committing offenses towards devotees and holy things. If you speak badly about devotees, speak bad behind their backs, are envious, insult them, hurt them, like that, that's an aparad. That's a very serious obstacle, and then you don't make any progress in spiritual life. And if you maintain this thirst for material things, one should learn detachment. Like, do I really need that? Or do I really need to do that? Etc. To keep the body and soul together. And then the last one is misunderstanding of philosophical concepts. Thanks. Because if one has an incorrect or very shallow understanding of spiritual knowledge, that can lead to confusion and lack of faith. So therefore it's so important to hear from proper persons studying the sacred scriptures, so you get a proper understanding about spiritual truth, right? So I think I may have gone a little too long with this, but this is a very wonderful verse. How lucky we are to be able to receive the King of knowledge, the most secret of all knowledge, and it's just simply to engage in devotional service. And we can do that without any academic degree or any qualification. We can be a very simple, uneducated, even a son of a maidservant like Narada Muni, because this devotional service is so potent. And whatever little thing you do for Krishna, it's not taking away from you. That's the famous verse from the 2nd chapter. There is no loss and no diminution. Whatever you do for Krishna is for your eternal benefit. Every little thing. So anything else we do, we have to leave it all when the day comes. But what you do for Krishna, Prabhupada says, you do 1%, next life you start from 2%. Yeah. So that's how it works. And it's very blissfully performed. So you should just chant Hare Krishna together and be in ecstasy. Yes?
But in our previous life, what did we do to get here, to start our Krishna consciousness here? We start from scratch, or we had some from before? Because I think I read that in Srimad Bhagavatam.
Most probably we have been doing some kind of devotional service in past lives. And at one point in life, we are, so to speak, handed the key. You get the key, unlock the door, and then, just like when I walk into the temple the first time, in 1970, whatever it was, 8, came in the temple, wow, finally home. I got that feeling, like this was missing in my life. So it's an ongoing process, and it differs from person to person, Some people may come also from the very first time, and it also depends on free will, or freedom of choice, because it's not only where you are in your advancement, it's also how you endeavor, because you can have a beginner who's trying very hard, very enthusiastically. That's one of the things that Rupa Goswami says. Utsahan nishchaya darya tattatka. He says, Utsahan, enthusiasm. Yes, I can serve Krishna. What can I do for Krishna? Can I do more for Krishna? That makes you make more advancement, even if you start from a very beginning, or like that. So it's very different what we all did in the past life. We have no idea. Krishna knows. But
if you die as a criminal,
excuse me?
If you die as a criminal, maybe next life you begin as a criminal again.
That may be so, yeah. Krishna explains Yam yam vapi smaram tayan chatyajanti kalevaram. One who remembers me at the end of life, when you leave the body. There's antakale chamameva, Krishna says, antakale. At the end of time, chamam, me. He will attain me. But for the rest of us, that's the verse, yam yam vapi smaram tyayam. That's whatever you remember, whatever mood, whatever conditioned personality you have, that will continue in your next life too. Because that is your conditioned nature, like that. But as a devotee, you act on the spiritual platform, and that is never taken away. But all the good karma or the bad karma, that will go at one point. You do good, so-called good, you go to the heavenly spheres and enjoy. And when the amount of good reactions are used up, you go back to this world. If you're a criminal, you may go to more hellish atmospheres, and then you will use up your bad karma, and then you come back to this world. Abrahma bhuvana loka, Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, from the topmost to the lowest planet. But whatever you do in devotional service, it's spiritual, and it's never taken away from you. It's accumulating. So,
but if you are a ghost, you have become a ghost somehow. I mean, not just maybe by killing yourself, I don't know. But if you're a ghost, I mean, do you have to live the amount of years that you're supposed to be living if you didn't die? Or is a ghost can be for a long time?
Yeah, ghost can be for a long time.
Okay.
Ghost means it's not that you are a ghost, but you don't have a physical, gross body. You just have the subtle body. So your body is basically only mind, senses, intelligence, and false ego. But you have no way to act in this world, because we act with the karmendriya. That means, the legs and the arms and the speech, etc. So if you don't have it's like you want to drive, but you don't have a car. So therefore, sometimes when ghosts are very strong, and people who have or has a gross material body are weak, they can come and take over. Yeah, so they can be ghost haunted and use somebody else's body. They can have this multiple personality thing. So, but that's not recommended. And then that can last for a very long time. Because what I know is the most common way to get the ghost body is to reject this gross material body through suicide. You kind of providence that I don't want to have a gross body. Okay, you don't have to. Then you should just be in a ghost situation. And fortunately, Lord Shiva is the Lord of all the Bhutas, Pretas, Pisachas, Pulindas, Pulkashas, different kind of strange life forms. That includes the ghosts. So sometimes by Lord Shiva's mercy, he can arrange so that the ghost actually gets some lower form of material, gross material body, and then can get out of this ghostly existence. But that's not very nice to be there. So, but he's merciful. He's Vaishnavanam Yatar Shambhu. Lord Shiva is the greatest Vaishnava, and also has a lot of compassion for people. Yes.
In this condition where they are, if they remember the Krishna, they liberate them. It is the possible.
You mean as a ghost?
Yeah.
I don't have any information what the ghosts remember. Generally, from one life to the next, you don't the so-called episodic memory, with certain events and things like that, and you don't remember. It's kind of buried into your subtle body. What is left from previous life is your conditioned personality. So you can change your personality. So you do materially, if you do good, do bad, that affects you. Like somebody says you should watch your thoughts, because your thoughts becomes your word. Watch your words, because your words becomes your actions. Watch your actions, that becomes your habit. Watch your habit, because that becomes your character. And watch your character, because that becomes your destiny. So destiny is based on your character. I have that sign on my refrigerator at home. I just got it by accident. I think it's pretty good because it illuminates the principle that Krishna said, that yam yam vapi smarantayam, that whatever condition you have, whatever character, you will bring into your next life. But you can, some people can through hypnosis access those hidden corners of your subconscious subtle body and remember certain environments and maybe certain events and like that, but most people don't, including ghosts. So, and I'm not sure the ghosts are very Krishna conscious, because the problem with enjoying a lot is that you are so absorbed in enjoying that there's no time for remembering Krishna or doing devotional service, because you're just having such a great time, although it's temporary. And if you're in a hellish condition, including having a ghost body, you don't have any impetus of remembering Krishna either, because the only thing you want is to get out of that horrible suffering condition like this. So based on knowledge, I don't think that ghosts in general are very Krishna conscious, remembering Krishna like that. So.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I asked, just I hear it one near-death experience, and he experiences some, these planets. And just one moment he remember the God, and it is like changing the conscious.
But you were not a ghost.
We are always someday.
No. We have gross bodies, and then we can act kind of normally in this world. So the knowledge acquiring senses, the hearing, seeing, tasting, touching, smelling, is the way you perceive the world, and the way you affect the world is through your legs, your head, arms and hands, and speech, and the anus and genitals. That's how you influence the world. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Should we go on with the program?
Yeah.
All right, thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gaura Premanandi. Haribol.
Thank you for you take all the time and the way coming here 2 hours. Thank you.
Maybe I should get a car. That's what they tell me, but Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai.